Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1-2 of October-November 2012. Now, with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have, in the expansion of this, the coefficient of x power 5 is minus 280. So we have to use that given information to find the value of a. So pretty easy. How would you usually expand this? Because here we have power 7, you will write 7, combination something, and the first term here is x squared. And then we have minus a over x. Now we have to choose a power here and a power here such that when you expand this whole thing, you can have something in x power 5. Now let's think, what can we choose the powers to be? So here we have 7. The powers can be from 0 till 7. So again, this is done by trial and error. We can try and see which one is the right one to choose. So let's see, I can choose from 0, 1, 2, 3 until 7. So what power can I choose here? So if I choose let's say 3, this will have to be 4, and it works out. So perfect. Let me choose 3 here. 3 here. This will need to be 3 as well. 7 minus 3 is 4. Okay, so 7, choose 3. That should be 35. That should be x power 8, and that should be minus a cube over x cube. Now simplify. This obviously we cancel out with this one. That should be 5, and you will have minus 35 a cube x power 5. But now the question tells you already the coefficient of x power 5 is minus 280. So this thing right here is supposed to be minus 280. So we just equate. So minus 35 a cube is supposed to be minus 280. So a cube is minus 280 divided by minus 35. That should be the value of 8. Hence, a will have to be cubic root of 8, and that should be 2. So find the value of a. A is the value of 2. So now we have a function f is such that f of x is given to you by this equation. For x is more than the value of minus 3. Okay. Now part 1. We have to find f inverse of x in the form of this. Let's try. So what will be that? That will be f, let y equal to f of x. So y will be root of x plus 3 over 2 plus 1. Now we have to try to make x become the subject. So we can first send this one over here. That will be y minus 1. Then we can square both sides. That will be square, and that will be x plus 3 over 2. Then we can just cross multiply. You will have 2 y minus 1 square equal to x plus 3. So finally x will be 2 y minus 1 square minus 3. Now finally f inverse, it is in terms of x, so you have to write 2 x minus 1 square minus 3. Now we have to expand this, express this in this form. So let's try. That will be x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 3. That will be 2x squared minus 4x plus 2 minus 3. And that will be 2x squared minus 4x minus 1. And this is your f inverse of x in terms of x, and it will be in this form. So finally we have to find the domain of f inverse. So to find the domain of f inverse, we have to look at the range of f. Right. Now to look at the range of f, we know f was given to you by f of x was given to you by root x plus 3 over the value of 2 plus 1. Now for the values of x more or equal to the value of minus 3. Now what if the value of x, the minimum value here is minus 3, so x is minus 3, what happens? That should be 0 plus 1, that should be 1. As you can see, as the value of x, if by observation, as the value of x increases to infinity, we understand that this whole thing here would also go to infinity. So simply, as you can see, the range will have a minimum value of 1, so you can confirm the range, which is f, have to be more or equal to 1. Now using the range, we can find the domain of this. Domain is expressed by x, so domain will be, x will be this. And that will be your answer for question part 2. Okay, and that is a function question. Again, just to kind of show this on the graph, for example, I know the minimum value when x is equal to minus 3, the value is 1, so it will start at 1. Now I can see that if the x value keeps increasing, obviously this whole thing here will increase. If x goes to infinity, this whole thing will go to infinity. So basically, the idea here is pretty simple. This is my x values and this is the y values. When x is equal to minus 3, let's say it is here, the value was 1. Now you can see as x increases, the value of y will also increase. So as you can see, it will keep going on. Here we have the range will be from this value here, which is 1, and then it keeps going on until infinity. So that will be the range of f. Now we understand we're using the range of f to find the domain of f inverse. The only difference is domain is expressed in terms of x, so we change f to x here to express the domain, and that will be your answer for part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a plan for a rectangular park A, B, C, D. So here we have A, B, C, and D. Great. Now in which AB is 40, so this is 40, which means this is also 40. So what is this one? That will be 40 minus x. Right. Now AD is 60, so what is this one? This will be 60 minus 2x. Now points x and y line BC and CD respectively. AX, XY, YA are path that surrounds a triangular playground. Okay, right here. Okay, so we have all this. So part 1, we have to show the area of the playground is given to you by this. Okay, so let's see. What is the area of this triangle? So there's a few ways we can approach this question. So one of the ways is we can look at this triangle separately. For example, to find this triangle, area of this, we can find the area of the whole thing, and then minus the area of this triangle, and this triangle. Okay, so step by step to find the area of the whole thing. First, that will be area of rectangle, length times width, which will be 40 times 60. Now we have to minus the area of the triangles. Let me first minus this one. This one is simple. Half times base times height. Then minus this one. That should be again half times base and times height. And then minus the other one, half times base and times height. Okay, so let's simplify. So here what you will have, 40 times 60, that should be 2400, minus this will be 30, so 30x minus this will be 40 minus x, and this will be minus 20, 60 minus 2x. So simplify, you will have 2400 minus 30x minus 40x plus x squared minus 1200 and plus 40x. So simplify, this and this will cancel out, and this minus this will give you 1200 minus 30x plus x squared. So finally, what do we have? Area A is given to you by x squared minus 30x plus 1200. Okay, that will be part 1 of your question. Now, given that the value of x can vary, we have to find the minimum area of the playground. So pretty easy. We have to find the minimum area. So at the minimum value, we know that dA by dx have to equal to 0. That will be 2x minus 30 have to equal to 0. So x will be the value of 15. Replace back in your main equation. A will be what? 15 squared minus 30 times 15 plus 1200. So 15 squared minus 30 times 15 plus 1200, that should be 975. In here, your area will be given by 975 centimeters square. And this is your answer for part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question. The line y is given to you by this equation, where k is a constant. Now it is a tangent to the curve, this curve. Now, a tangent means it touches the curve at exactly one point, so it means it has exactly one solution, which means b squared minus 4ac have to be 0. Now we have to use that information to find the value of k, so pretty easy. So here we have y, here we have y, we can replace, so 4y is also x over k plus k have to be x squared. Now we can simplify, that will be 4x over k plus, that should be 4x, that should be x squared. Now we can multiply by k everywhere, just to remove the k at the bottom here, that should be 4x plus 4k squared equal to kx squared. Now we can send everything to one side, you will have kx squared minus 4x minus 4k squared is 0. So this is your value of a, value of b, and your value of c. So b squared is 16 minus 4 times a and times c have to be 0, because we know it has only one solution. We know how to use that equal to 0. So simplify, we can divide by 4 on both sides, divide by 4 everywhere. This will become 4, this will become 1. Have 4, that should be plus 4 k times this. Now divide by 4 again, that will give you 1 and 1, so that will be 1 plus k cubed have to be 0. So k cubed have to be minus 1, so k have to be minus 1. That is your value of k. K is minus 1. So now finally we have to find the point P. So we have to find that point. So now replace back in your equation right here. K is minus 1, that will be minus x squared minus 4x. That should be minus 4 is 0. We can rearrange, that should be x squared plus 4x plus 4 have to be 0. Factorization, that should be x times x, 4 is 2 times 2. That will be plus and plus. So x will be the value of minus 2. So finally, to find the value of y, just replace back in your main equation, or right here. Y is equal to x squared divided by 4. X squared is 4 divided by 4, and that will be the value of 1, which means p have to be minus 2 and 1. That is part 2 of your question, finding the coordinates of p. Now let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a triangle ABC, so we have A, B, and C, in which A has coordinates 1, 3, this is 1, 3, and B has 5, 11. And the angle ABC is 90 over here, okay? Now the point X is given to you by 4, 4, which is right here, and it lies on AC. Part 1, find the equation of BC. So pretty easy. BC is a straight line. We have to find the gradient first. What is the gradient of BC? So to find this, we must first find the gradient of AB, right? That should be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That should be 8 over 4, and that should be the value of 2. Hence, the gradient of BC will be minus half. Now, since we have the gradient, we have a passing point, x and y, we can find the equation pretty easily. So y minus 11 over x minus 5 have to be minus half. Cross multiply, you will have 2y minus 22 is equal to minus x plus 5. So 2y will be minus x plus 27, and that will be your equation of the line BC. Okay, now let's move on. We have to find the point C. So pretty easy. To find the point C, we realize that C right here is a point of intersection between the line AX or AC and BC. So we already have the equation of BC, we just have to find the equation of AC. So to find the equation of AC, we must first find this gradient of AC. We can use this one, right? This is on the same line. We can use these 2 points. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That should be 1 over 3. Now we have a passing point. Let's choose the passing point A, which is 1, 3. That will be x and y. So y minus its corresponding value over x minus its corresponding value should be 1 over 3. Again, this is just a method that I use to find the equation of a straight line. You can use your own method if you want to. Now cross multiply, you will have 3y minus 9. That should be x minus 1. So 3y should be x plus 8. That will be the equation of AC. Equation number 2. Equation number 1, we have to solve to find the point of C. So let's make x become subject here. So x is equal to 3y minus 8. Replace x in here. You will have 2y is equal to minus x. That should be 8 minus 3y plus 27. Send this over here. You will have 5y, and that will be 8 plus 27. That should be 35. So y should be the value of 7. So x will be 3 times 7 minus 8. 21 minus 8 should be 13. So the point of C will have to be 13 and 7. That is part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question, part 1. We have to show the equation this equal to this can be written in this form in terms of sin x. So pretty easy. Step by step, let's see what can we do. So here we have 2 cos is equal to 3. What is tan? Tan is sine over cos. Now we can just cross multiply. You will have 2 cos square is equal to 3 sine. But now we know what is cos square. Cos square is 1 minus sine square. That should be 3 sine. Now we can expand. That will be 2 minus 2 sine square is equal to 3 sine. Now send everything to one side. You will have 2 sine square plus 3 sine, and then we have minus 2 have to be 0. So let's rewrite this. That will be 2 sine square x plus 3 sine x minus 2 have to be 0. This is shown as required. It is a quadratic equation in terms of sine x. Now part 2, we have to solve this equation for the value of y between 0 and 180. Now here the only difference here we have, instead of x, we have 2y. So just replace. So part 2, instead of x, we have 2y. That should be this 2y plus 3 sine 2y minus 2 have to be 0. Now we can factorize, obviously. That should be 2 sine 2y and sine 2y minus 2. So 2 is what? 2 is 2 times 1. To get plus 3, we have to have plus 4 minus 1. So sine 2y can be half, or sine 2y can be minus 2. But again, this is not possible because sine of any value can only be between minus 1 and 1. This is outside of the range. So we have to use only this one. Now when sine is positive, it will be in the first quadrant and in the second quadrant. This is the angle directly, and this will be 180 minus 2y. So 2y will be what? Sine inverse of half. That should be 30 degrees, but also 150. So y can be 15, and could be what? 150 divided by 2, that should be 75. Now we can check if we have any other values from here. For example, we can add 360 and see what happens. So 30 plus 360, then it will be 390, and that will be too much because we can see here y is between 0 and 180. 2y have to be between 0 and 360. So when you have 390, it will be outside of the range. It will be kind of useless to go ahead with the other value. So finally, y can be 15 and 75 degrees. Okay, and that will be part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question. Now we have two vectors a and b. OA and OB are given to you right here. Now y k is a constant. Great. Now part 1, in the case where k is 2, if k is 2, OP will be 2 minus 2 and 4, right? So we have to find the angle AOB. So from O, we have to find the direction OA and OB. So we have those two already. We can find the angle. So that will be dot product. That'll be 1, 0, 2, dot of 2 minus 2, 4 is equal to, the magnitude should be 1 plus 4 for the first one. That should be root of 5. This one should be 4 plus 4 plus 16. That should be 24. That should be cos of the angle, O right here. Now we can perform scalar product. So 1 times 2, plus 0 times minus 2 plus 2 times 4. That should be 10. So 10 divided by root of 5 root of 24 have to be cos of angle O. So 10 divided by root of 5 times root of 24, then cos inverse of that will give you the angle. So O will be 24.1 degrees, correct to 1 decimal place. Now for part 2, we have to find the values of k for which AB is a unit vector. So let's find the value of AB. So what is AB? AB will be OB minus OA. So OB will be k minus k and 2k. Minus OA is 1, 0, and 2. That will give you k minus 1 minus k and 2k minus 2. Now we know that AB is a unit vector. It means that the magnitude of AB have to be 1. That's the main idea behind this. Is a unit vector, it means the magnitude have to be 1. So how do you find the magnitude of this vector? You have to square root, square everything. You have k minus 1 square plus k square plus 2k minus 2 square have to be the value of 1. Now we can square both sides, obviously. Here you will have, this will cancel out, here you will have 1 still. We can expand the value inside. You will have what? You will have k square minus 2k plus 1 plus k square plus 4k square minus 8k and then plus 4 have to be 1. Now we can simplify. So here we have 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4, that should be 6k square. Here we have minus 2 minus 8, that should be minus 10. Okay, and here we have 1, 1, 1. This 2 will cancel out, so you have plus 4 have to be 0. Now we can factorize, or we can first simplify. Divide by 2 everywhere because everyone is even. That should be 3k square minus 5k plus 2 have to be 0. Now we can factorize. That should be 3k times k, 2 times 1. To get minus 5, we have to have minus 6 plus 1. So k have to be minus 1 over 3 and k have to be the value of 2. So these are the two values of k for which that is possible. Okay, that is part 2 of your question. So upon checking, I did realize I made a mistake here. So if you check, if you see here, plus multiplied by minus is actually minus, and here we have plus. So this is not a good factorization. So this will not be the answer. So we have to factorize this properly. You can see it will have to be what? 3x squared is, so 3k squared 3k times k, 2 is 2 times 1. So to get the value of minus 5, I can have 1. So this is not the right one. So we can try some other ways. So what is the other way I can perform this? I can replace 2 here and 1 here. To get minus 5, we can have minus 3 and minus 2. So k can be 2 over 3 and k can be the value of 1. So minus times minus is plus. So this is the good factorization. The two values of k can be this and can be this. Again, if you guys don't know how to factorize, no big deal. Just use your formula. We can find the value pretty easily, which is minus b. The formula for k will be what? Minus b is this plus minus 4, b squared, 25 minus 4 times a times c. That will be 1 divided by 2 times a will be this. So k will be plus minus 1 over the value of 6. So you can use your formula, or you can factorize correctly. Double check. You will have the value of k is this and k is equal to 1. Okay, and that will be your question, part 2 of finding the value of k if AB is a unit vector. So now let's move on to the next question. We have a GP and all the terms are positive. Great. The second term is this. Second term is AR is equal to 24, and the fourth term is this one. Fourth term is AR power 3 is equal to 13.5. So something we have to know is that whenever we have a GP, we have to know the formulas given to you. The nth term is given to you by A, R, and minus 1. That's why, that's how I know this is this and this is this. Now part 1, we have to find the first term, which is the value of a. So pretty easy. We have to use these two equations that we were able to form. So let's call this equation number 1 and equation number 2. So what I can do here, I can take equation number 2 divided by equation number 1. So you will have AR over 3 over AR is equal to 13.5 over 24. Cancel, cancel. This will be square. So you will have 13.5 divided by 24. That should be R square is equal to 9 over 16. So R will be 3 over 4. That is the first value that I have found, which is R is 3 over 4. Now using this, we can find the value of A. So A will be 24 divided by R, which is 3 over 4. So 24 divided by 3 over 4, that should be 32. So the first term, A is equal to 32. Now let's move on to part 2, the sum to infinity of this progression. So sum to infinity will be equal to A over 1 minus R. A is 32. 1 is 1 minus R is 3 over 4. So 32 divided by 1 minus 3 over 4, that should be 128. So 128 will be your answer for part 2. Now let's move on. A circle is divided into n sectors, okay, n pieces, in such a way that the angles of the sectors are in an AP. So we have an AP progression for the sectors of this circle. Now, the smallest two angles of 3 and this. Find the value of n. Okay, so let's see. So the smallest two, so the first term and the second term, is 3 and 5, which means the first term is 3 and the common difference is plus 2, right? So we have this and this, and we have to find the value of n. So here, what do we know? If you were to add all the terms together, you are supposed to get 360 back, because it is a circle. All the angles together will be 360. So what is this formula? It is half n, we don't know. 2 times a will be 6 plus n minus 1, n minus 1 we don't know, right? Times d is 2, is supposed to give you 360. Now we can solve one by one to see what happens. We divide by 2 for this one, that will give you 3 and 1. Have n here, that should be 3 plus n minus 1 is 360. Simplify, you will have n, that should be 2 plus n equal to 360. Now it will be 2n plus n squared is equal to 360. Now we can obviously send everything to one side. You will have n squared plus 2n minus 360 is equal to 0. Now we have to try and see what are the factors of 360 that we know. So 360 divided by, let's say, divided by 15, that should be 24, not good enough. Divided by 20, that will be 18. So perfect. So 20, and that should be 18. Now you can see here we have plus 2. Here we have n times n. To get plus 2, we have to have plus 20 minus 18. So plus 20 minus 18. So n will be the value of 18, and n will be the value of minus 21, which is not possible. Minus 20, sorry, not 21. This is not possible. So obviously n have to be the value of 18. And that will be part B of your question. So let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows part of the curve 9 over 2x plus 3. Okay. Crossing the y-axis at the point B given to you by 0, 3. And the point A has the points 3, 1, okay, given to you as well. Great to know. So then we have a tangent to the curve at the point A, as you can see here. It crosses the y-axis at the point C. So here we have a point of intersection of the tangent and the y-axis. Okay, so part 1, we have to find the equation of the tangent at the curve. So pretty easy. We know the tangent passes through A, but also, how do you find the gradient of tangent? So we have seen this many times before. It will be by dy by dx. Will be what? We can rewrite this as 9. That should be 2x plus 3 power minus 1. First thing first, multiply by the power should be minus 9. Then we have 2x plus 3. minus 1 to the power, that should be minus 2, then times 2. Right? That should be times d by dx of the value inside will be 2. Minus 18 over the value of 2x plus 3 squared. This is dy by dx. Okay? Now what else do we need to know? We have to find dy by dx at the value of x equal to 3 at the point A. A is x value is 3, y value is 1. Replace, let's see what happens. That will be minus 18 over the value of, so 2 times 1 is 2, so 2 times 3 actually, 2 times 3 plus 3, 9 squared, that should be 81. So minus 18 divided by 81, that should be minus 2 over 9. So this is the gradient of the tangent. Now we have the gradient, we have a passing point, we can find the equation. So y minus 1 over x minus 3 have to be minus 2 over 9. Cross multiply, you will have 9y minus 9 should be minus 2x plus 6. That should be 9y should be minus 2x plus the value of 15. And that will be your equation of your tangent right here. Part 1 of your question. Now for part 2, determine whether C is nearer to B or to O. So where's point C? Point C is here. Let's find the point C. Point C is on the y-axis, so we can say on the y-axis, what do we know? The value of x is 0. That will be 9y equal to 15. So y will be 15 divided by 9. That should be 1 2/3, which is 1 times 3 plus 5 should be, plus 2 is 5 over 3. So 5 over 3. So simply this distance here, it is 1.67, for example. And we know this value here is 3. So we can see the distance here is 1.67, but the distance here have to be less, right? Because 3 minus answer is 1.33. Distance between this is 1.33. Distance between these two is 1.67. So obviously we can say that C is nearer to the point B by showing these values. Now for part 3, we have to find the exact volume obtained when the region is rotated 360 about the x-axis. So we know volume about x-axis will be pi. Then we have limits, and that will be y squared with respect to dx. So here we have y is equal to 9 2x plus 3 power minus 1. So square of that will give you what? That will give you 81. That should be 2x plus 3 power minus 2. But let's think. Okay, so here we have the curve. So we have to find all that volume. So the curve we have here, we have this is the point of 3, 1. This is 0. So we have the limits of 3 and 0. So let's solve this integral. So volume will be pi, and that should be 3, 0. And we have 81, 2x plus 3 power minus 2 dx. That should be 81 pi 3, 0, 2x plus 3 minus 2 dx. That should be 81 pi. And we have b 2 plus 3. First we have to increase the power by 1. That should become minus 1. Divided by the power and divided by d by dx of the value inside. That should be 2. And of course the limit is 3, 0. So let's try to solve this. First let's simplify. So first we have 81 pi outside. And here we have minus, so here we can have, take out the value of 2 outside. You will have minus 1 over the value of 2x plus 3. That should be 3, 0, which is 81 over 2 pi. So replace 3, you have minus 1 over 2 times 3 plus 3 is 9, then minus 1 over, here we have over 3. Let's see what happens. So minus 1 over 9 plus 1 over 3. That will give you 2 over 9. So 81 over 2 times 2 over 9, that will be 9. So your answer will be 9 pi units cubed for the volume of that region. This is the value of V. Okay, and that will be your exact value, 9 pi units cubed, for part 3 of your question into finding volume. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. A curve is defined for x is more than 0, such that dy by dx is given to you by this. Now I can rewrite this as x plus 4x power minus 2. P is a passing point, good to know. We have to find the equation of the curve, which is simply we have to find the value of y. So now we understand y is equal to integration of dy by dx, which is x plus 4x power minus 2 respect to dx. That will be x squared over 2 plus 4x power minus 1 over minus 1 plus c. So y is equal to half x squared minus 4 over x plus c. So we have to find the value of c by using the passing point P. This is the x value and the y value. Replace back in your main equation. So you will have 8, and that will be half times 4 squared minus 4 over 4 plus c. That will be 8. 16 divided by 2 will be 8 as well, minus 1 plus c. So c will be the value of 1. So finally, from here we conclude y will be half x squared minus 4 over x plus the value of 1. That is my equation of the curve. Now for part 2, we have to show the gradient of the curve has a minimum value when x equal to 2, and state this minimum value. Okay, so let's find out. So when the curve, so as we know, when the curve has a minimum, what do we do? So when curve is y, when y has a minimum, we perform dy by dx is equal to 0. But now we understand dy by dx is the gradient, right? So now when the gradient has a minimum, what do we do? We differentiate the gradient and we equate that to 0. So we have to find d2y by dx2. That is what? Let's see. So here we have to differentiate this. That will become 1 and minus 8x power minus 3. That should be 1 minus 8 over x cubed. Now equate that to 0. We can send this over here. You will have what? Let's see. That will give you 8 over x power 3 should be 1. X power 3 should be 8, so x will be the value of 2. So as we have seen here, we have shown it is x equal to 2, shown as required, and state this minimum value. So minimum value of the gradient. So minimum value. So what is dy by dx? That is the gradient value, because we have to understand gradient is actually the value of dy by dx when x equals to 2. Replace back in your equation. That is 2 plus 4 over 2 squared. That should be 2 plus 1, and that will be 3. That is part 2 of your answer. So part 2 is finding the value of x and then show and then find the value of the gradient, find the minimum value of the gradient, which will be 3 according to your provided questions or provided equations. That will be part 2 of your question. So let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a sector of a circle center O, okay, and the radius is 20. So if this is 20, this means this is also 20, right? So this whole thing here also be 20. Now what else do we need to know? A circle with center C and radius x, right here x, center C, lies within the sector and touches it at P, Q, and R. So P, Q, and R. Okay, so which means if you were to join C and P, also X, if you were to join X and R is also X. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And obviously, since we only touch, this will be 90 and 90. Okay, now let's move on. So part 1, we have to show the angle x is 7.218 correct to 3SF. Oh, it is not the angle, the value of x. So we have to show the value of x right here is 7.218 correct to 3 decimal place. So what can we do? So one thing we can do here is we can kind of use the values that we have, and let's see what can we derive, right? So let me draw something. So here we have x and x. We can also connect these two. For example, what if I draw this here? So what is this length? Because I know the radius is 20, this will be what? This will be simply, if I were to take this out, for example, I will have this side, and this side. For example, this is O, P, and C. This is X. So what is this side? We know this whole thing is 20. This is X, this will be 20 minus X. Now what is this angle? This whole thing is 1.2, this will be 0.6. This is this. So we have to show the value of x is actually, the value of x is 7.218. So how can you show this? Or how can we find this? Is there any easier way to do that? Let's check. So we have this length, we have that length, and what are those? Is it the center? Let's check. So it says this, we don't have any other information regarding those points. It may be the midpoint. Let's see what other solutions we may have for this question. So let's proceed with this one then. We don't have other solutions. So from here, what can we know? How would you usually find the angle? By using those two sides, what can you do? So this is my O side, this is my H side, so we have to use sine. So sine of 0.6 is given to you by the O side over the hypotenuse. Okay, now we can cross multiply. You have 20 minus x, sine of 0.6 equal to the value of x. Now we can expand. You will have 20 sine of 0.6 equal to x plus x sine of 0.6. So we can factorize. X will be 1 plus sine of 0.6 equal to 20 sine of 0.6. Now from this point, x will be what? 20 sine of 0.6 divided by 1 plus sine of 0.6. So here we have to use radians. So 20 sine of 0.6 divided by 1 plus sine of 0.6. And that will be 7.217527. So 3 decimal place, that will be 218. This is shown as required. So great news, we're able to find the value of x from this information. Now for part 2, we have to find the total area of the 3 parts of the sector lying outside of the circle center C. So we have to find the area of this one, and this one. So how can you find this area? So pretty simple. We can first find the whole area. So the whole area will be what? Number 1, that will be half r square, which is 20 square. Theta is 1.2. That is the whole area. Half times 20 square times 1.2. That will be 240. Now we have to remove the area of the circle here, so we can have these 3 parts remaining. So number 2 is area of circle is pi r square. Pi is pi r square, because the radius here is x. That will be x square. That will be 7.218 square. So 7.218 square times pi. That should be 163.675. So the area that we actually need for part 2 will be the whole thing minus the answer. That should be 76.3, and that will be centimeters square. That is part 2 of the question. Now for part 3, we have to find the perimeter of the region OPSR. So where's OP? OPSR PSR, which is bounded by the arc PSR, and the lines OP and OR. So let's see. So now something we can understand is that OP and OR, they are the same, right? So by observation, the perimeter should be what? Should be the value of PR, right? This one, so PSR, which is the arc length. And then we have OP plus OR. So we can first find this value. So how would you find the arc length PSR? So pretty easy. What is this angle here? Okay, so if you look at the shape PCRO, it is a four-sided shape, which means the sum of all the angles should be 2 pi. So we know we have 2 pi in total. We minus 90, which is pi by 2, minus 90 should be minus pi by 2 minus pi by 2 is minus pi, right? And then minus 1.2, that will be 1.942 is this angle. Now to find the length of PSR, we know we have to use the formula we know for arc length, which is r theta, which is x is 7.218 and times the angle 1.9415. That will be what? Times 7.218. That should be 14.0 for the value of PSR. Now, we have to find the value of OP, which is this one. Right? So pretty easy. We can we know this is what? This is 7.218, which means this will be 20 minus 7.218. That should be 12.782. So we can use these two sides to find this side by using the Pythagoras theorem. So 12.782 square minus 7.218 square. Square root of that, that should be 10.55, which is the value of this. So finally the perimeter should be what? 14, and that should be 2 times 10.55, because we understand that OP and O are the same, so obviously we can just do 2 times this. 14 plus 2 times 10.55, that should be 35.1 centimeters for the perimeter of that shape OPSR. And that will be part 3 of your question.